So, let's talk Boys of Tommen. Hey guys, it's Caitlin, and if you're new here, my name's Caitlin and I read loads of books and I like to post them on my TikTok, my Instagram and on my booktube. And today we're going to be talking about the Boys of Tommen series. These books have put me in a slump, so much so I'm rereading Binding 13. So if you want to hear me ramble on about these books, carry on watching. So I started reading the series on the 24th of April and I finished the 2nd of May. This series was gut-wrenching and it was addicting and I loved it. The first two books are about Johnny and Shannon, and Johnny is a star rugby player. This is all set in Cork Island, and just so you know, I will be talking about spoilers. So just so you're warned. And Shannon has just started out at Tommen College. She's new as she's had a really shit time at BCS, which was the Ballylaggin community school. So she moved to a private school. So when Johnny and Shannon first meet, it's kind of awkward. He accidentally hit her head with a rugby ball and then her skirt had ripped because she fell over and she accidentally flashed herself in front of everyone. So he then decided to threaten his whole rugby team about not bringing up their situation, otherwise he'll be beating the shit out of them. Shannon is very used to a very abusive household. Her dad is abusive, and this whole series is very heartbreaking. I cried so much. I rated this book 5 stars. I had cried, I laughed, I was kicking and giggling at my feet because of Johnny Kavanagh is the standard. Kavanagh, oh my god! It's basically they're in a bar, yeah, and there's a load of her bullies in the bar, and he tells he's sitting up with the maids and the barmaids and everything. He'll go talk to one of his friends, bullshit, and he goes around to the people that used to bully her, and he's like, "Now, who wants to call my girlfriend a whore to my face?" And they're not even dating. Ah! I swear. There's certain scenes where he referred to her to other people as his girlfriend when he was protecting her, even though they weren't even together yet. It is a slow burn, quite a slow burn. I think the first proper kiss is 600-700 pages in, and this book is a chunky boy, and this book is 789 pages. So it was about 700 pages in when they did kiss for the first time, but that's not even the big one out of the two of them. This one, I believe, is 802 pages, and I honestly do prefer keeping 13 over Binding 13 because of you can actually see Johnny and Shannon in their relationship. But I do love Binding 13 because then you get to see the beginning of their friendship to then turn into a relationship, and I just love them two together. They are in my heart. I did cry quite a lot during these two books. I cried the most out of the entire series in Binding 13, and which is a lot. I cried so much. So if you do ever read this book series, keep a box of tissues next to you because you're gonna need them. So with Binding 13, with her just starting out, she's quite shy, quite timid. She's not really used to people being friendly with her or anything. And there is a character that is a bitch to her called Bella Wilkinson, who I hate. And when I find you, Bella Wilkinson, when I find you. Nah. So, with Binding 13, with it being a sports romance, it is focused around rugby, but it's also focused on Shannon's upbringing and also her relationship development between Johnny and Shannon. I rated this book 5 stars and it is a must read. You do need to read this. And there is some scenes in there that are so fucking funny. You literally will be crying from laughter. Oh my god, so Shannon's brother has just picked up Johnny because Johnny been out drinking, and Joey's like, "Oh, it's fine." Joey, Shannon's brother's like, "Oh, we'll give you lift home, blah blah." And then Joey was like, "No, brother, where are we heading?" And then Johnny thinks, luckily he didn't say it, "Straight to your house because I want to fuck your sister." Oh my days. And I probably love her too. A fucking lot. So the next book about Johnny and Shannon is Keeping 13. Now, this book, so much more heartbreaking. And it started off with Shannon pretty much dying because her dad had beat her so badly. And her brother is like, it's him or us, mum, it's him or us. And the shit mother that she is, she picked the dad, obviously. Her older brother Darren, who had ran away when he was 18, well, not ran away, left home when he was 18, had come back to be a supportive unit for his mum. It's just no. So you see more and more of the truth of Shannon's home life unravel and everyone finding out about it. And Darren has them like create a story and lie to the Gardaí, which is the police, about it all. Oh, I forgot to say, this is set in Ireland, in Cork, like South Ireland, I believe. And it's just all fucked. I did not like Darren, don't like her parents, never will like Darren, never will like her parents. I don't care if in the few books time he has a redemption arc, I do not care. I will not like him because of certain things that he said in Joey's books, which I will be talking about next. But this development of Johnny and Shannon's relationship, and the fact that she's trying to heal from her trauma, and the fact that he's stood there by her, at her side, there for her, it's just beautiful, and I love it. And I love when Edel and Johnny Kavanagh's parents, foster Shannon and her siblings, because that is just beautiful, and that she's got someone there for her. And it's just absolutely beautiful, the fact that she will finally have a beautiful mother figure and a family that she had always wanted, and a caring family is that as well. I rated this book 5 stars as well. It was just so captivating, I couldn't put it down. And the amount of tears I had shed in this book, it was literally like this. Tears, like beginning of book, tears, 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 tears. Oh, that's good, tears, 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 tears. Oh, that's good, tears, 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 tears. And I was so sad this book ended, because I know I wouldn't get any more of Johnny and Shannon. Next is Saving Six, which is Joey's first book. This is about Joey and Aoife. You do get mentions of Joey and Aoife because of this book. Saving Six is set between 1999 and 2004, whereas Binding and Keeping 13 start on the 10th of January 2005. It is really weird reading characters that are younger than me, because I'm 18 years old now, but Shannon is 16, Johnny is 17 turning 18, so it's very, very weird reading characters that are younger than me, and in a time that before I was even born. So it starts off when Joey first starts secondary school and he meets Aoife for the first time. And I just love the way they meet. This is a friends to lovers slow burn as well, and there is parts to it. It's like first year, second year, third year, fourth year, that sort of thing. He works at Aoife's petrol station, Aoife's dad's petrol station, sorry, and that's how he earns money to help with his family, to provide, and mainly because of the fact that his dad drinks the money away, which is great. You see struggles with Joey of how he deals with his trauma. He turns to drugs, does anything, until it gets like around about like this mark of the book. Like this bit is when it starts to go to hard like stuff. He also does. It's really messed up, the fact that like how he dealt with his trauma. It then turned to, he was then addicted to it. And seeing how the fact that him and Aoife went from friends to lovers, and how she stuck by him and helped him throughout his entire addiction, refused to leave and kept it quiet, which honestly, good for you. Like, I'm proud of Aoife for being able to actually like stay with him, and because it must have been really, really difficult. And the constant mention of his mother saying that he's just like his father, and it's just awful. The emotional like abuse that his mother put him through is, I cried so much in this book. Not as much as Keeping 13, surprisingly, but it was just seeing how when he had started using substances and how it just got worse throughout the years, and it's just devastating. But it's nice the fact that he had Aoife there, and Aoife did help in some ways. I rated this 4 stars because it wasn't my favourite, and I think it was because of the timeline as well. I don't really like reading stuff back in time, but it was still a really good book. But I did rate it 4 stars. Next is the second book about Joey and Aoife, and this is Redeeming Six. What I didn't like, all those books aren't floppy. This is the only book that's floppy. So just a little sidetrack there. So this is then set between the beginning of 2005, so from it the 1st of January sort of thing, and then it carries on with the timeline of Keeping 13. So how Same as Six ended was on a cliffhanger. Joey and Aoife are just broken up because of Joey left her because of his drug addiction. They get back together, but he is still dealing with substance abuse, and it's so heartbreaking. And then reading the Him or Us chapter from Keeping 13 in Joey's point of view, so it's called Him or Us 2.0, was heartbreaking. Joey's point of view from that entire scenario was the most upsetting thing I've ever read, and I was crying the entire time. I was reliving it, but from Joey's point of view, and it's just even worse. Aoife did get on my nerves a bit in this book because of she was trying to help him, but then instead of trying to look at rehabs or anything, she was like, oh, stop it, like that's not gonna help someone who was a drug addict. That's not gonna help someone. What broke my heart is that she was pregnant with his baby. She had the baby and everything, he's all healthy, but what broke my heart was the fact that because he was a drug addict, obviously she had to let midwife know, and then they had to make sure that she was clean of any STDs or any diseases because of he was then using. And it's quite sad because obviously if he was in a haze, on a high, they may not be able to see, you might not be able to might not be able to know if they're clean or not. So then her having to then get tested, and then when every time they would get intimate, she would have to be like, even if she wasn't birthing, well, after she was pregnant, couldn't get pregnant again, but he had to cover up because otherwise I don't think she trusted him. And the fact that she didn't tell him for 3 months that she was pregnant, that's what really annoyed me. The fact that he had to hear it in class from someone else is stupid because of her brother told people. I understand, obviously she did tell him, but he was off his head, and she should have told him at a point where he was somewhat sober, but his addiction just got worse and worse and worse. And what happened to Aoife was his dad tried to abuse Aoife, so she didn't want to be anywhere near Joey because Joey's been told that he looks like his father and said that you look exactly like him, and that made him disappear for 5 days. And you know where she found him? In a drug den, on a mattress, with him sticking out his arm. She found him and she had pulled him out of there. When his addiction started getting worse and worse and worse, it's just progressing. The fact that she's been more and more pregnant, closer to her due date. He had so much drug debt. She asked Gibbsy, who is in the first book and second book, who is Johnny Kavanagh's best friend, for money to help. It is so sad reading both the point of views of both his struggle and her struggling to be able to help save him. I had never cried so much in a book. These two destroyed me mentally and emotionally, just destroyed me. And when he went to rehab, it was nice to see his point of view, what happened with the rehab, and it was very selfish of her. And she was like, oh, I don't want him going, but then if she forced him to stay, he wouldn't have gotten better, and then she'll be complaining about the fact that he's not getting better. I don't know, just Aoife was a bit But when I went to the POV of Aoife and Joey, when Bella Wilkinson had bullied Shannon to the point where she literally was covered in sour milk, and had words written BJ13, called her a slut and a whore, and when Aoife's beating Bella, and when I got to the point of view in Keeping 13, I forgot to say this, when they're like, oh, we didn't see a girl, we didn't see a girl, we didn't see a girl, protecting Joey, protecting Aoife. And I'm gonna say this spoiler, when Teddy Lyncher came back and burnt the house down, Joey had gone off and he'd gotten high, and Darren had ran off with him. Luckily, Shannon had been given a phone by Johnny. Shannon had called Johnny, saying that, you know, her dad's back and everything. Johnny had gotten Shannon and the kids out, so it was just Shannon's mum and Shannon's dad left, and the whole house was burning. And at this point, Joey is trying to kill himself, and Lizzie finds him and helps him, you know, not kill himself, which is, I was crying so much in that scene. And then when he got to the house and he was screaming and crying, being like, my kids, and when Johnny said that Johnny had the kids, and he was like, he has my kids, the fact that he saw them as his own kids, because he was the father to them, it was just, oh, I'm gonna stop crying again. Just, this book was amazing, and seeing Aoife and Joey being a happy little family with their baby, little AJ, it was absolutely lovely to see that. The fact that he is slowly healing and he is sober and he's fighting through this, and he's trying to prove Aoife that he is trying to stay sober for their family. I rate this book 5 stars because it was absolutely amazing. The final book in the Boys of Tommen series that's out so far is Taming 7. This is about Claire and Gibbsy. This is the timeline as just after redeeming 6. This book felt really rushed. I still read it quite quickly, but it did feel really rushed. There's so many things, like with Gibbsy learning how to swim even after his family had drowned when he was younger, and him not being able to go near water ever since, sit in baths, or even you can have showers, but baths, like depths of water he couldn't deal with. There was no expansion on him learning how to swim. There was no way of him being able to heal with the trauma that he had dealt with. I still cried during this book, but there was no healing properly. It felt very rushed, and there's not really much I can really say. I don't like how it ended. I don't really like Lizzie in this book. She was a bitch. Claire was also saying things that wasn't her position to say in as well. She had good intentions, but no. So this book was 4 stars from me. There's not really much I can really say about this book because I just didn't really feel a connection with it as I did with the other characters. So there's not really much I really can say. So, if you're thinking of reading the Boys of Tommen series, you need to. And I'll tell you the timeline, how the series timeline is what's best. So first you should start with Saving 6. Then you should next go read Binding 13. And then Keeping 13, Redeeming 6, and then Taming 7. But if you want to read it in the published order, it is then Binding 13, Keeping 13, Saving 6, Redeeming 6, and Taming 7. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to listen to me ramble on more, subscribe, and yeah, see you later. Bye.